A sudden avalanche buried me under the snow-capped mountain. The man who came to rescue me was Victor Lowe. When I was found by the rescue team, he had already closed his eyes forever. In the hospital, I once wanted to end my life. Unexpectedly, after I fell asleep, I actually went back 7 years ago, to the time when I first met him. In my past life, I carelessly said in front of everyone, "Let me ask how much he charges for a night." This made him lose face in the whole social circle. I've seen many such people who sneak in to promote their products. They're nothing new, I said recklessly as I swallowed a mouthful of dessert. But he does have a good-looking face. He could be a gigolo. As soon as I said this, there were low, ambiguous laughs around. For these wealthy socialites, keeping 1 or 2 lovers outside was just a form of entertainment. In this life, I shivered all over and looked up. Victor was wearing a famous brand suit. His profile was incredibly handsome. He wasn't the type of pretty boy. The ends of his eyes and his sword-shaped eyebrows showed a bit of fierceness. He was seriously promoting his family's jewelry. What's more, I never expected that after he saved me, everyone was reborn. In my past life, relying on my good fortune as the eldest daughter of the Bennett dynasty, I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. In the world, there were only things I got and things I didn't want. Just the family trust fund was enough to support me for 5 lifetimes. But during the snow disaster, all these didn't matter. Only he held me tightly. His embrace made me feel safe. A faint voice came from afar. He asked, "Have you ever loved me? Even for a single second?" Before this, I didn't know he loved me. Maybe I knew, but I never cared. His last words were, "Many people love you. You must remember me." What on earth did I do to deserve this? After the snow disaster, I suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and tortured myself into a mess. I knew I had let him down again. He had worked so hard and shed all his blood to save my life. My parents sent me more money, but they never came to the hospital to see me. I wasn't the only child in the Bennett family, and I was too lazy to find out how many illegitimate children they had. Moreover, I was a dissolute and out-and-out spendthrift. Many nights, I had to hug Victor's overcoat to sleep for half an hour. In my dreams, I would return to that snow-capped mountain and then be awakened by pain and despair again. If possible, I hoped he would never meet me. Even if he was reborn 1 day earlier, I would never come to this banquet. I was the disaster in his life. I didn't want him to love me. It was too painful. I wanted his life to go smoothly, with a bright future, full of joy and peace. "Vivian? What's wrong with you? Are you okay?" I came back to my senses and forced a smile. In this life, I didn't walk up to him arrogantly and ask about the price of keeping him. Naturally, there was no such thing as taking him to my regular clothing store and ordering high-end suits for him. Just like dressing up a little pet dog of my family. I dug my fingernails deeply into my palm and frowned. It's okay. He built his business from scratch. He's much better than us who just idle around. When I said this, those who had looked down on him couldn't say anything more. After calming down my mood for a long time, I thought of the important thing. I checked my private savings on my phone and then called my manager. "There's a new brand called Joufon Jewelry. I'll invest in it. You go and talk to his boss about cooperation. Give him whatever amount he asks for." As far as I could remember, Victor came to this banquet because he had some cash flow problems and wanted to find a partner. "What conditions do you want? Dividends? Equity?" The manager had good professional ethics. "Well, I don't want anything, but I'm afraid this will arouse Victor's suspicion. Just take a symbolic amount of dividends. Don't take anything else." To avoid running into Victor, I chose to hide on the balcony and eat small cakes during the second half of the banquet. Before long, $8 million was successfully transferred to Victor's account from mine. Taking advantage of no one noticing, I wiped the cream from the corner of my mouth and quickly left the banquet early. The balcony door opened twice. 3 pieces of tiramisu were missing from the dessert area. There was an extra $8 million in my account. Victor withdrew his gaze and calmly picked up a glass of champagne from the waiter's tray. No one knew that in an unseen corner. He smiled faintly. After I got home, I threw away all the ski boards in my house. It didn't matter much. Skiing was just one of my many hobbies. My best friend sent me a message, asking why I left without saying goodbye. Then she excitedly said, Right. Wanna go out for a drink? There are so many handsome guys this time. That Mr. Lee who used to like you is also here. In the past, I would definitely have attended such a party. The crowd was lively and bustling, something I'd always enjoyed. Yet somehow, today, my enthusiasm waned. Victor had never forbidden me from these places before, after all. He wasn't anyone to me, with no right to control my actions. He'd usually park his understated car outside the bar, waiting to drive my tipsy self home. Occasionally he'd ask, "Why drink so much?" To which I'd retort with mock seriousness, "Why stay so sober?" More often, I'd serenade his car with off-key renditions ranging from Moon over Lotus Pond to I've pleaded before Buddha for millennia. Now that I think about it, I really had no room to criticize his questionable taste. The realization made me cringe harder. What could he possibly see in me? Taste, let's be honest, is just privilege monetized. Yet mere wealth gets sneered at as vulgarity among the elite. There's always hierarchy. True sophistication means defining what constitutes good taste. A plain tote bag versus one plastered with logos versus another bearing calligraphy by a living master, they're worlds apart. Remembering Victor's awkward attempts at designer fashion, I frowned and made calls, send 2 of my personal stylists to his place. Curate seasonal runway looks for him monthly. Men don't wear much jewelry in these circles. But watches matter, ship over a few Rolex subs. Midway through planning further acquisitions, my phone alerted me to today's spending limit. My secret funds had already dwindled by half. To keep Victor unaware, I channeled everything through my manager. Thankfully, our prior business ties made him accept the gifts without suspicion. The relief felt unfamiliar, unlike the suffocating guilt that used to plague me. Owing someone your life makes for terrible sleep. When Sean requested to meet his mysterious investor, I panicked and declined through intermediaries. What I forgot was how gossip spreads in these circles. Within 3 months, everyone whispered about me keeping a boy toy. Even my mother stormed in at dawn, jabbing my forehead, "We never stopped your partying. But flaunting some gold digger? What brainless bimbo move is this?" Exasperated beyond words, I googled Victor's photos. Mom's outrage dimmed to muttering, "He's not worth millions though." I stifled a laugh, wondering how the future jewelry magnate would feel about his valuation. Post-drama, I melted into my couch with potato chips, cucumber and original flavors. Yes, the world knows me as the concert hall hopping, heavy metal-loving heiress discussing French New Wave and offshore assets. But my best-kept secret? This trashy snack habit even my BFF doesn't know about. The phone shattered my chip coma. A low voice purred. "Miss Vivian, I hear you've been funding me for 3 months. Care to inspect your investment?" Victor's smirk traveled through the line. "Or do you always throw money around blindly?" I hung up instantly. His follow-up texts arrived with fitness stats, medical reports, and selfies. Ugh. How shallow can he be? Disgraceful. Where's the dignity? The morals? The address? Staring at the pinned location, I surrendered. His home surprised me, no luxury penthouse. Just an aging apartment with his father's portrait. I knew about his early struggles after parental loss, but never expected company. There, clinging to Victor's arm. Was my college roommate Lillian. Victor? Is that your new watch? Gorgeous. What ring style would suit me best? Yes. Although I'm not exactly academically inclined, I'm still enrolled in college with my attendance record teetering dangerously close to expulsion thresholds. During freshman year, I met Lillian Brooks, who initially presented herself as fragile and delicate, prompting our entire dorm to look out for her. Coming from relative privilege, I often treated everyone to meals and movies. Believing we had harmonious relationships, I never once asked them to split bills. The first red flag appeared when my skincare products started depleting suspiciously fast. A serum that should have been viscous once turned watery in my hands. Eventually, I realized Lillian had been using my belongings without permission, even claiming my trench coat as her own. When confronted, she'd adopt that wounded fawn expression, making it seem like I, the privileged heiress, was bullying her, not one to tolerate exploitation. I publicly exposed how she used her financial aid to buy luxury goods. After that blow-up, I moved off campus. Everything changed after the avalanche. An anonymous message arrived. Vivian, you've never tasted true loss. Have you? I hope you rot in hell for eternity. Now that I think about it, why was she already acquainted with Victor back then? As I pondered this, Victor's deep voice interrupted. I'm not entirely sure either. Just pick whatever style you want from the boutique. Lillian bit her lip, nodding obediently. Spotting me, she feigned surprise. Viv, what are you doing here? Then added sweetly, by the way, the professors mark you absent countless times. Keep this up and you'll get expelled. Victor extracted his arm from her grip. I invited her. We have matters to discuss. Oh, okay then. Lillian fluttered her ridiculously long lashes. Don't forget what I showed you about your Scorpio star chart. Victor, getting close to Pisces energy brings misfortune, maybe even mortal danger. Coincidentally, I'm a Pisces. After Lillian's reluctant departure, Victor massaged his temples. I teased, too much for you to handle? Not exactly. Distant relatives asked me to look after her. My pulse quickened, recalling her astrological warning. If Victor's approaching me again this lifetime, are we still heading for disaster? And Lillian's sudden distant relative connection feels off. Earth to Vivian. Victor waved a hand before my eyes. I can't keep accepting your gifts. My reputation's in tatters these days. Squirming under his gaze, I stammered, should I compensate you? His lips quirked. Money? Please. Reputation is currency in business circles. With everyone thinking I'm your kept man, no serious partner will touch me. What then? Instead of sugar baby, let's tell people we're dating. After a while, we'll stage a breakup. I nodded. As my girlfriend, you'll have a 10 p.m. curfew. I grimaced but agreed. It's weird dating a dropout. Starting tomorrow, I'm taking you to class. Fine. He even claimed my dislike for cruciferous vegetables harmed his business expansion. By the time I processed this, realization struck. He's essentially sentencing me to daily imprisonment. Victor lowered his lashes, shadowing his eyes. You object? Through gritted teeth, not at all. In my previous life, I'd barely known Victor. Though handsome, I'd had countless rumored flings, none memorable. This current spectacle attracted unprecedented attention. My best friend called, squealing, no way. You're actually dating? Glancing toward his study, I whispered, well, you could say that. This is huge. You swore we'd guard our fortunes and die alone. She laughed. Remember? Flowers are for picking, not keeping. Men only slow my draw. Back when we clinked champagne flutes under falling gold streamers, roaring into the night. He's different. I mumbled defensively. Viv? Victor's voice carried from the study. Gotta go. Plans tomorrow night? Busy lately. I hurriedly hung up. Back in the study. I slumped into my chair with frustration. Why was I still being forced to do homework in my 20s? Victor had somehow obtained my final transcript and discovered, unsurprisingly, that I needed to retake 3 courses next semester. 3 failed classes? For subjects this easy? Victor raised an eyebrow. His fountain pen glinting under the lamp. I doodled on his notebook with his prized Mont Blanc. Ever heard of trophy wives? That's me. Why bother with diplomas when I've got everything? Sunlight illuminated his sharp jawline as he leaned over, and I found myself distracted counting his absurdly long lashes. For a heartbeat. I remembered those same lashes frosted with ice crystals in another lifetime, making me shiver involuntarily. Memorize these vocabulary lists. He circled page numbers with military precision. Were it not for my lingering guilt, I'd have thrown the dictionary at his annoyingly perfect head. The words blurred as drowsiness hit. Textbook knowledge just doesn't stick. I complained, watching Victor's focused profile. His disciplined routine, no social media, early bedtimes, spreadsheet-organized life, made him seem decades older. At least this version hadn't fallen for me like before. Dinner brought temporary relief until Victor confiscated my 3rd lobster tail. Your stomach needs time to register fullness. His medical tone couldn't mask the truth. Years of skipped meals and cocktails had wrecked my digestion. When cramps hit later, his warm palm pressed against my abdomen with clinical efficiency. Lazy bum. He chided during the impromptu massage, calloused fingers easing the pain despite my protests. Our nightly showdown came during vocabulary drills. 10 failed words. Ever heard of legacy kids failing basic proficiency tests? I'll copy them 10 times. I bargained, mentally cursing my past self for skipping those language classes. Victor's idea of enrichment felt more like boot camp than the carefree education my peers enjoyed. His interference extended beyond academics. Your account manager's been skimming funds for years. Victor tossed corrupted ledgers on the desk, anger sharpening his features. Replace him. But he's familiar. Familiar thieves still steal. His gaze pinned me. Who else would you trust? The unspoken question hung heavy. In this second chance at life, I'd gambled everything on Victor, the man who'd frozen to death saving me before. Now, watching him restructure my empire with ruthless precision, I wondered what price his protection would ultimately demand. Then help me find someone suitable. If it's him, even if he runs off with all my money, I'll accept it. Victor pulled out some contracts from the drawer like he'd prepared them in advance. Sign these. Without reading, I scrawled 2 flamboyant characters across the documents. Vivian Bennett. The 2-month summer vacation passed in a blink. I'd never looked forward to school starting so much, finally escaping his clutches legitimately. Not only that, I miraculously passed all my makeup exams, avoiding academic probation. During this time, I visited my dorm. Though I didn't live there, the housing fee was mandatory. Pushing open the door, I found my former desk and bed converted to communal use. My roommates exchanged awkward glances when they saw me. Lillian blew on her freshly painted nails. Flunked out? Her tone dripped fake concern. I rolled my eyes. Even if I did, I'd just transfer abroad. Why do you care? Is that so? She smiled sweetly, but an inexplicable chill ran down my spine. Ignoring her, I searched for my remaining possession, the snowboard I'd modified myself. This particular board, it was what I'd taken during the fatal avalanche in my past life. Examining it closely under the fluorescent lights, I found nearly imperceptible damage along the edge. The kind of precision sabotage that could cause structural failure when moisture seeped in. My gaze flickered to Lillian's saccharine smile. I'm moving out. New roommate coming soon, I announced casually, suppressing my racing thoughts. During that avalanche, equipment failure had stranded me outside. I snapped the board across my knee and threw it in the dumpster. That accident might not have been natural after all. My reckless nature made me equal parts adored and despised. My phone rang. "Viv, was that you at the lecture hall?" My best friend teased. "Thought you'd be glued to your sugar daddy. He's more like a prison warden." I grumbled. "Come out tonight. You've skipped 5 parties already. Hot new guy here, blonde. Dances like your favorite K-pop idol." "I'm in." Hanging up, I impulsively texted Victor, studying at library. "Back late. Don't wait up." He found me at the club's dance floor. Mid-body roll with the blonde Adonis. The temperature dropped 20 degrees when our eyes met. As Victor stormed out, the stranger grabbed my wrist. "None of your business." I yanked free, chasing after Victor's retreating figure. My friend drawled to the confused dancer. "That's her fiancé, just watched her grind on you in a crop top for 5 minutes. What do you think?" Outside, I slapped my palms on his Mercedes hood as he tried to leave. "Where are you going? Say something." His knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. "Run me over then," I challenged. Chest heaving under neon lights, Victor finally opened the passenger door with a venomous smile. My bravado evaporated. "I'm sorry. I meant to be back by 9. I checked my phone midnight. What you do means nothing to me." His icy tone shocked me. Wasn't I supposed to save him this time? Why was I messing up again? I babbled apologies and promises. But Victor drove in stony silence, the tension thicker than the club's fog machine haze. The more he acted this way, the more uneasy I felt. "If you're really angry, why don't you pinch me a few times to vent?" I suggested as we got out of the car in the garage. Head lowered, I followed Victor's silent figure. His voice remained eerily calm. "Vivian, perhaps this is the lifestyle you prefer. You thrive on excitement and novelty. I shouldn't have presumed I could change you." His words carried finality. "Your destiny belongs to you alone." Physical punishment I could handle, but this sudden detachment made panic surge through me. Clutching his arm like a kitten fearing abandonment, I stumbled through explanations. I do enjoy fun. But I didn't. Frantically grasping for justification, I blurted out unrelated news. "When I retook that exam today, everyone expected me to fail again. The professor barely glanced at me, they all think I'm an idiot. But I filled every page." You should have seen his face. My rambling trailed off as I noticed Lillian waiting at our doorstep, clutching a bento box with feigned concern. "I brought homemade cookies to thank you for your kindness." She simpered, completely ignoring me. Unnecessary. Victor's icy refusal left us both standing outside. The moment the door closed, Lillian's mask slipped. Her lips twisted into a venomous smirk. "Rejected again? Finally. Victor sees your true colors. You're unworthy of him." True to her words, Victor cut all contact. Returning to my empty mansion should have been liberating. Yet loneliness gnawed at me. Apologies weren't in my repertoire. Nor did I know how to mend this. Recalling money's universal appeal, I began bombarding Victor's accounts. Breakfast transfers, lunch payments, dinner deposits, until he screenshot his 7-figure balance and blocked me. Such a pure and unpretentious wealthy guy. I muttered through frustrated tears. For 6 months, his blocked chat became my diary. Buy 3 chip bags. Red exclamation mark. Memorized 50 vocabulary words. Red exclamation mark. New dress alert. Red exclamation mark. My patience snapped during one particularly tedious afternoon. "If you keep ignoring me, I'll fry you like chicken, then kick your pretentious rich boy ass down the sewer in." The 3 typing dots suddenly appeared. My scream pierced the luxury boutique when my cards declined hours later. Must be machine errors, I insisted as clerks produced multiple POS devices. Dialing my estranged father went unanswered. My mother's tearful voice finally explained the nightmare Dad had drained our fortune funding his mistress' shady ventures. Our emptied mansion swarmed with movers stripping assets. Mom's red-rimmed eyes met mine in the barren foyer. He kept rambling about living authentically. She sobbed, showing me damning financial records. Rushing to the study, I combed through remaining ledgers with growing dread. The numbers told a story no birthday guest safe combination could fix. Slumping against cold marble floors, reality hit harder than any account balance. Our golden cage had rusted shut. As expected, he had been secretly siphoning money from the family trust fund much earlier and laundering it overseas. Even if not caught now, he'd eventually flee with all the funds and his mistress. The Bennett dynasty was doomed to bankruptcy. It was only a matter of time. The more immediate horror? My credit card bill due next month. Returning home trembling, I realized even with 2 lifetimes experience, I'd never imagined facing ruin. When calm enough, I inventoried assets, sold luxury bags at half price, pawned jewelry, liquidated investments. The hardest blow came next day when my social circle vanished overnight. Everyone knew the Bennett dynasty had fallen. Only an old friend privately checked on me while others mocked, always hated her pretentiousness. Who'd bother with that airhead fool now? Better avoid her before she begs for loans. At school, Lillian triumphantly shredded my textbook, scattering pages across my face. Still acting high and mighty. Vivian? The classroom erupted in laughter. Normally I'd have gotten her disciplined, but without financial influence, I was just another student to the administration. How much for the book? You'll pay replacement cost. I shrugged. And clean up your mess. She flushed crimson as the teacher entered, digging nails into my palms. I understood every trust fund kid's nightmare, maintaining appearances without resources. Days passed routinely, classes by day, hustling for income after, rejecting menial jobs. I leveraged my sole marketable skill, luxury retail. The humiliation burned, initially kneeling before former peers to showcase products, swallowing rage after each shift. Gradually I accepted this reversal. Hadn't I once taken such service for granted? Months passed, earning what I'd previously blow in one nightclub outing. I learned the brutal exchange rate of dignity, sweat, and time for survival. Sometimes I thought of Victor, no contact since my downfall. I'd gifted him my remaining assets, trusting he'd use them better. Then came the shock. Leaving work famished at 9 p.m., I spotted his familiar car. Avoiding confrontation, I detoured home. The window descended. Long time, Victor said. Nearly a year since our last fight. His business empire now thrived. Critics silenced. Social climbers offering daughters. Hungry? He asked. Parked deliberately. Bewildered, I accepted his grilled fish invitation. Why help me? I finally asked during the return trip. His hand twitched as if to pinch my cheek, then withdrew. Hopeless case, he muttered. Victor gradually re-entered my life, coaching sales techniques, teaching silk pajama care. I messaged him constantly, treating him as human Google. In gratitude, I spent portions of earnings on flowers and gifts he unapologetically used. Contrary to previous life's trajectory, I graduated properly, earned prestigious certifications. Even the boutique offered regional management. The bitterest lessons became my salvation. As I hesitated over what to do next, Victor told me the investment money I'd given him had multiplied into substantial dividends. Stunned, I watched his quiet chuckle. I was rich again, though not enough for reckless spending. This newfound security felt precious, enough to grant me freedom and life choices. What will you do with it? Not sure. I mumbled, cheek pressed against the desk. Keep holding on to it for now. Consider it free asset management. Victor, ever the posture perfectionist, tapped my head disapprovingly as I slouched. I suddenly wondered aloud. Are you, also, Never mind. I buried my face in my arms, yawning. What difference would it make anyway? When the class committee announced graduation trip plans, I asked the destination through numb lips. The famous Snow Mountain. Everyone voted for it. They chirped. Snow Mountain. Memories crashed over me. My throat closed as phantom cold pierced my bones. That beautiful, silent, merciless storm. Closing my eyes, I relived it all, Victor leaving every scrap of food and water for me. His frostbitten wrists bearing self-inflicted gashes to feed me his own blood. The rescuers found him embracing my cocooned form. Ice crystals on his lashes. Already gone. Doctors said his sacrifice alone kept me alive until help came. He'd always drawn the short straw in love. For my first birthday, he bankrupted himself buying a diamond watch I tossed in my walk-in closet. The next year, he broke bones practicing skiing for months while I partied at nightclubs. The third year, he delivered home-cooked meals to curb my chaotic eating habits. Though I barely touched them. I'm not going. Still playing princess. Vivian? Lillian sneered. Or do you hate the whole class? Everyone knows you'll come crawling if Victor attends. He wouldn't go if hell froze over. I shot back. Why was Lillian so obsessed with this trip? Rushing home. I dialed Victor. Any Snow Mountain invitations? Your school sent one. Why? Don't go. That place is cursed. When he remained non-committal, I barged into his penthouse with grocery bags, double-locked every entrance, and chained the doors. Victor watched amusedly as I declared, "You're staying put these 2 days. My work, Colin's sick. We'll binge movies. I'll read to you. Snacks galore." His eyes crinkled. "Vivian, are you courting me?" Gritting my teeth, I nodded. Got a problem with that? Just thinking about this makes my blood boil. I've been chasing him for half a year. Yet this guy hasn't shown any reaction at all. Only now did I realize. Guess I'll have to get to the bottom of this in the next couple days. On graduation trip day, I turned off my phone and curled up on the couch with Victor, binge-watching a TV series. When did you start liking me? Even potato chips couldn't shut him up. I deflected. Look how attractive these actors are, must be new debutantes. You're terrible at lying. After racking my brains, I finally admitted. By the time I realized it, I'd already fallen hard for you. Maybe because you never kicked me when I was down like others did. Or because you believed I wasn't dumber than everyone else. Maybe it was how you looked at me at the clubhouse that night. Or, maybe earlier, when I first saw you at that banquet. But someone as arrogant as me walked up to you too pridefully to recognize my own feelings. Victor pinched my earlobe. I was worried my little bookworm would never figure it out. Suddenly, our movie screen flashed an emergency alert: severe weather triggers avalanche at Mount _____. Rescue operations underway. My stomach dropped as I checked our class group chat where everyone kept checking in safe, except Lillian. Where's Lillian? Haven't seen her since we entered the mountains. She kept muttering weird stuff like this wasn't supposed to happen and I need to go back during the hike. I looked up to meet Victor's contemplative gaze. What's wrong? Shaking my head slightly, I whispered. I want to ask, have you ever regretted anything in your life? Never. There'll be many better people than me. He pressed a finger to my lips, pulling out Somerset Maugham's The Painted Veil from the shelf. Read me the dog-eared page. Puzzled, I opened to the well-worn page and began reading aloud. I know you're foolish, flighty, and empty-headed. Yet I love you. I know your ambitions are vulgar, your ideals pedestrian. Yet I love you. I'm aware you're second-rate. Yet I love you. I love you simply because you're you.